Just a wee thought before we begin for today. And the thought is this: in Scotland and England, we both pay council tax. In England, you pay for your water separately from your council tax. In Scotland, the water is included in the council tax. Why do I bring that up? Well, it's something, if Scotland had to become in line with the Union, that we might have to end up doing. But hey ho, that's just the way the cards fall. We would just have to accept that, wouldn't we? Wouldn't happen in an independent Scotland though. We wouldn't have any form of private, for-profit, corrupt water companies. Right, so what do I want to talk about today? I want to talk about how we can move forward with independence, because let's face it, right now, we're never ever going to get a Section 30 referendum. Why would we want a Section 30 referendum? That is acknowledging that Westminster has sovereignty over you, the Scottish people. Westminster does not hold sovereignty over you, no matter what people in the comments are saying, no matter what aggravation they may cause you. Independence will come quite happily if the Scottish people want it. And right now, the polls are about level, about 50-50, but they're kind of nudging towards a majority for independence. How do we convince more though? How do we convince more? Well, I'm going to ask you a question just now, something that perhaps maybe we should be asking as independent activists more often, to get people thinking, the undecided voters thinking a little bit more. And the question's quite simple. What do you want to see in an independent Scotland? What do you want to have in an independent Scotland? What would make a difference to you in your lifestyle in an independent Scotland? Right, you've got a magic wand. You can decide anything. You can choose anything you want. Just go out and think about this for a day or so. Come back here and put it in the comments. Start thinking about that whole thing, about if you could change one thing in Scotland. Not political, just something. Nothing political. If it's political, it doesn't count, okay? So no politics, just something you would change, something that would make a difference to you. I got asked that very question at the Creating Scotland event in Perth a few weeks ago. And you know something, it's actually quite difficult to sit down and get out of that mindset of something political. But I came up with something, and it's something that, well, if I've got a magic wand and I can have anything I want, it's a transport infrastructure that would allow me to get to the north of Scotland within 2 hours. A railway system, a transit system of whatever, that would allow me to get up to somewhere like Thurso and then get a ferry across to the Orkney Islands, because I love the Orkney Islands. And that's what I'd love to be able to go from Edinburgh to Orkney inside 3.5, 4 hours. That's what I would change. And when you start thinking about what you would like to see in an independent Scotland, regardless of politics, you start to see what benefit it would be to have an independent Scotland. And that's where we need to start. We need to start looking at things like that, as opposed to relying on politicians to do independence. I came across this phrase just last night, and it struck home greatly with me. Politicians ride waves. Activists make waves. Politicians don't create anything. They are career people wondering what is going to happen in the papers the next day with their reputation, wondering what hashtag will be created to mock them, wondering what speech will be taken out of context and used to belittle them. They have to ride that wave of whatever happens. They have to ride it because the wave that they're riding has been made by activists on both sides. So we have to make different waves that basically inspire people, basically that make people have a little bit of critical thinking about what it would be like to live in an independent Scotland, to have the things that we currently don't have, the ability to invest in ourselves, which is something we cannot do just now effectively And that's where we start. Because if we start doing that now, come the 2026 general election, what can we do with that? Well, there would have to be a little bit of cross-party cooperation for the election, and this is where politics does have an input, simply because we need a legal ballot box event to express our need and wants for self-determination. And those wants and needs need to be based on one simple premise: is a vote for an independence party is a vote for independence. It's a vote for yes. It's a vote for a brighter future for your kids. And that's why we don't need a Section 30 referendum. We don't need that at all. We don't need to ask Westminster. That is just a whole load of baloney. And I quite like baloney, but not that sort of baloney. So your homework right now is to go away and think what you would change in an independent Scotland. What would you have if you had an unlimited budget, if you could wave a magic wand and create that thing? Just be as outlandish as you possibly want, just for the sake of discussion. You know, I think it'd be a fun exercise to do. And for all you Anglo-British nationalist naysayers, bring it on. Come and have all your negative comments. Because, you know something, that's all you have. You don't have hopes and dreams. You're quite happy to settle into your unionist way of thinking, not wanting to move forward, and eventually end up paying more just to live. Have a great day. See you on Saturday at the march.